Hey guys, this is Rabbit. Um, Today I'm going to talk about my Grail doll. It's been kind of a long story with this doll. I kind of played around with him today and gave him this new hairstyle. I was making this wig originally for Oscar, but it didn't really fit his head, and I had made it on Lakota so it fits him, and it's like, you can't really see it very well, but it's like shaved on the sides here, and then it has like a mohawk kind of thing with a little man bun. And it's kind of a weird style, but I think it looks pretty cool on him. And then I did like the sides in here today. I blushed those in so they kind of match. I mean, it's not like perfect, you can kind of see the line, but it looks pretty cool. And he's been needing kind of a new look. This doll, I bought a Soom Chrom back in 2014 in September or October, and it was like a layaway thing that I did on Den of Angels. And anyway, they were from the UK, and long story short, the doll, after I spent like $700 on him, the doll got lost in the mail, or actually, I believe it was stolen. But the shipping company didn't want to take responsibility for it. It was just a really crappy situation for me because it was like right before Christmas, and then the person who I bought it from was going like through college and stuff like that, and they didn't have a lot of money either, so they were really cool. They ended up refunding me for it, but it put a really big uh, it hurt me towards Soom Chrom. Um, but I made up my mind because he's always been one of my favorite sculpts that I wanted to have a Soom Chrom. Well, the one that I had bought had the wolf ears and the regular Soom SD male body, and well, I couldn't afford to buy him again because there wasn't anybody who had him on the market for a reasonable price. So what I did was I bought the head, and this was actually the human version head, which I added ears to later because I did want to incorporate the wolf in his character. So he does have the ears, and which is why I chose to give him this wig, because it shows his ears, and he's had like this other hairdo for a while now that's just really kind of it looks kind of like a Beatles haircut almost. It's just really really bland, and it doesn't really give him much personality, and I think that's kind of why I've had a hard time um, bonding with this particular doll, which I don't want to have trouble with him because he's really, really special to me. Well, anyway, back to my story. I bought this doll from, I believe, somebody in Oregon, on Den of Angels, or Washington. It was Washington or Oregon, but anyway, it was really close, so I was like, okay, cool. There's not much, there's not much of a chance of something happening in between here and there, so I felt a lot better about that. So at least I would have the head, because that was um, the main thing about the doll that I wanted was this face. And when his head got here, I was opening at work on my lunch break, and thankfully nobody else was in the room because I was holding him in my, like, this little head in my hands, and I was like, oh my god, I have this sculpt now. And it's always been a doll that I've looked at other people's versions of, and I never really thought I was gonna get one for myself. I just really, really liked it. And then so when I finally got one for myself, I'm like, oh, I don't even know what to do with him now. So he does have like a backstory and stuff. It's just his personality and stuff like that that I haven't really worked out as much. He's kind of rather serious, and he does, like, because he has like wolf traits. He's not a werewolf, but he has some dog traits in his personality. He's like very loyal and things like that, and he functions in a like a family type situation. He functions like as a dog would. Like there's a definite alpha and an omega, and ranks like that. So he does have some of that in his personality as well. But but I haven't really done much with his style. At first, I was gonna go for like more of a fantasy style, do some um, medieval type things like cloaks and peasanty type. I don't know. And then I mixed it with modern, and I really like the modern look. Now I think I'm gonna go with kind of more like bohemian, but not but like darker tones for him because he's been wearing a lot of brown. But I actually think that he'd look better in more black and stuff. Not like goth black, but more black to go with this black. He also had green eyes in before, and I really like these blue eyes. They're like they don't really have like black pupils. They have like darker blue pupils, but they look really intense in him, and I like that he's like kind of looking at me like that now. Um, so those are gonna stay in him for a while. His character can actually change the color of his eyes because he's like an immortal type fantasy character, so he can do whatever the heck he wants. But yeah. Um, but like I said, I had a really hard time kind of figuring out what to do with this doll. For the last month or so, I've actually had his head in with his clothes and stuff because I was borrowing this body for one of the heads that doesn't have a body. So for right now, he's on his own body. Um, but I mean, it kind of goes back and forth until I can get that other doll um, a body of his own because I kind of feel bad for him too. And Lakota is really a pretty generous, nice person, so he doesn't mind sharing. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna work on some different sewing projects for this doll. He has really nice arms, which I was looking at when I dressed him. So I'm like, he really needs like some tank tops, and I think I will go with that. Like he had a shirt that had like a lace up thing right here, which is pretty easy to do because I just do like an open collar and then I just take through with a needle and just lace it up, and it looks really cool. I like that. So I think I'm gonna do like a tank top version of that with the lace on the front. I'm not really sure what material I'm gonna use. I love this shirt on him, which is just weird because it's like this really simple like t-shirt material, but I really like this maroon on him, um, which is not really a color I expected to use on him, but it looks so good. And it's like so loose and comfortable, and I like how the neck is like really wide. In the back, you can see his little, like, oh, it just looks so good on him. So he's kind of wearing that for now. I switched him to these black boots. They have black, and this is kind of brown right here, but he was wearing like the longer brown boots for a long time, but I think I'm gonna give those to one of my other dolls when the one that was using this body, when he gets his body, um, because they're a little bit more fantasy, a little bit more medieval, and this character currently lives in modern times, so he wouldn't be wearing a lot of medieval stuff, but he's kind of lived in both time periods, so he has influences of different cultures and different stuff like that. So it kind of leaves it like really open to do whatever I want with this character. But at the same time, it's almost like too much because I'm like, oh god, I don't know what to do now. But I am sticking with this wig for now because I think it's really something different and something cool for him. And his other one was just so bland. And actually, I like the fact that I can see his forehead now because his other wig had like these bangs, and he has such a pretty forehead. I know that sounds weird, but he really does. And I love that I can see his ears. Because I put a lot of work into modding these ears to be like little doggy, like elf. He's like doggy. Wolf, sorry. Little pointed ears, and they have little black tips on them because they're supposed to be kind of like dog ears. But I put a lot of work into those, and I like that I can actually see them, and that they're not just like, where is it under there, kind of digging. But yeah, that's kind of I I felt like I should dedicate a little time to talking about this doll since I haven't really done a lot with him yet, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to, and I'm not going to get rid of this doll. So, hopefully, you'll be seeing more of him on my Flickr and stuff like that on my Instagram, because I love him. I know. One of the things I was kind of laughing at is my mom actually mentioned, we were talking about my dolls and stuff and which ones were her favorites and which ones she didn't really like as much. She said, "Well, none of your dolls are ugly necessarily." She's just like, "There's certain sculpts that I don't care for as much as others," which is awesome. I'm glad that my mom is that, like, she's honest enough to tell me this, and I'm very interested because it doesn't affect my view of my dolls. Like, I like them all for different reasons. But she was saying something about how the Chrom sculpt has this really long, like, pinched looking nose, and then, like, when I first started taking pictures of him, everybody's like, well, he kind of has these like jowls on the side, and I was like, oh my god, I never really noticed, but he has these little puffy. I don't know. I love like the uniqueness of the sculpt, so it doesn't bother me when people point stuff like that out. And I'm glad that I have the original 2009 Chrom. Because the new one that they put out, his nose is not the same. Like from the side, he doesn't have this little beaky, like, he's got kind of almost a break in the bridge of his nose right there, and the new one doesn't have that at all, and it's like, that's not Chrom. But anyway, no offense to people that have that doll, it's still like a gorgeous looking doll. I'm just glad that I got the original one that I fell in love with. But yeah, so I'll be doing further updates, and I hope to make some more videos about talking about the individual dolls and kind of their stories, personalities, and things like that. They all have such history. Like, I've been writing stories and stuff. Nothing I'm ever going to publish, but just for my own personal amusement, I guess. I've been writing stories about them and things. So they all have different stories. The only characters that I have that aren't involved in the one storyline, like as dolls, are Serial and Alec. They are not my characters. They're actually like my version of Lynn Fluelling's characters from the Night Runner series. So those two don't technically, like, their characters don't belong to me. It's just my own personal interpretation of their characters. So I probably won't talk about them much because if you want to know about them, you can just read the books. But my other characters are all mine, and they all come from the same world. So Lakota is really the only one of them that's not a normal, like, human being. He's kind of from a fantasy realm. He goes back and forth. He's like essentially kind of a guardian of different worlds and stuff like that. It's kind of almost like a Thor-esque type thing, like where he lives in a different realm, but he can travel to different worlds. He's called a guardian of sorts. So there's different characters in that story that are other animals, whereas he's the wolf. There's a hawk and an owl and like a gargoyle lion type one, which I probably never get those as dolls, but they'd be really cool if I did. But I don't really have their characters. I want to develop his character before I start developing all of his friends and stuff, because let's face it, I only have enough room for so many giant SD dolls. So yeah, Lakota and Oscar are like really close friends, and then his I'll just call her his mate, because he doesn't really get married in a sense that we would. She's just a normal human being as well, and her name is Ren, and she will be coming home as one of two Supia sculpts, and I haven't decided yet. It's either a Rosie or a I have no idea how to pronounce it. It starts with an H. But she'll be coming home as one of those two sculpts, and when I go to buy her, I'll just have to, like, make up my mind really quick on which one I want because I've been going back and forth between them. But she's gonna be a tan skin one. Um, she's her character is a whole nother story, but yeah, they're together, and then Oscar is their friend and stuff, so they're all kind of related in the same part of the story. Yeah, anyway, I've been babbling for 15 minutes about my dolls, so I will make this video kind of draw to an end here, and thank you for listening to me and watching my videos, supporting my hobby, and I will talk to you guys next time. See you later.